Hello there and a very warm welcome to another edition of the program. I am Victor Matthias. Now, the global campaign, Not Too Young to Run, was launched at the first United Nations Forum on Human Rights, Democracy and the Rule of Law on the 22nd of November 2016. The campaign was launched by a partnership consisting of the Office of the United Nations Secretary General's Envoy on Youth, the UN Development Programme UNDP, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights, the Interparliamentary Union, the European Youth Forum, and the Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement. Today on the program, we will be finding out the aims and objectives of this campaign. But before we begin, let's make a detour and flip through the social media trends in the past week. The rerun elections in Rivers State drew the attention of Nigerians, and they couldn't help but tweet their thoughts as regards the intrigues, accusations, counter-accusations, and the outcome of the keenly contested elections into federal and state legislative chambers. Nigerians trended this hashtag, that's the Pay Falcons, after the victorious Super Falcons protested to the National Assembly on the day President Muhammadu Buhari was to submit the 2017 budget, calling on the Assembly members to help them get their dues. Well, that pressure paid off as the monies were eventually released. But back to the topic of the day. Joining me on the program is Samson Itodo from the Youth Initiative for Advocacy, Growth and Advancement. We also have Mariam Loshi. She works with an NGO, but also she is a firm believer in the Not Too Young to Run campaign. Thank you for joining us. Mariam, let me start by asking you to shed more light on this campaign that has been going on for a while now.
So the Not Too Young to Run campaign is basically about inclusion, about getting younger people to participate more in the political process and governance in Nigeria. So it's a bill that was submitted to the House of Reps to reduce the age for elective office. So on the bill, it says for governor and senator and president, we would like the age to come down to 30, and for the House of Reps and the State House of Assembly, 25. So this will allow young people to run for office. And the second part of the bill talks about independent candidacy.
Young to Run campaign. It's a campaign that is geared towards addressing some of the political, I'll call it structural imbalances within our political system. That excludes a larger percentage of our population from running for office. What we have within our political process is a system that excludes young people from running, where at 18 they are believed to be matured enough to understand the manifestos of political parties, to determine who to elect to run for office or rule over them, but they are believed not to be capacitated enough to actually lead or run for office. And so they have to wait until they are 40 to run for president, until they are 35 to run for governors or even Senate, or 30 to run for House of Reps, and then 30 for State House of Assembly. And so what the campaign seeks to do is to address the constitutional age requirements where young people need to the particular age before they run for office. So that's what the campaign seeks to do.
Well, that said, Samson, how ready can you say the youths, or young people, if you like, are ready for office? Because some will argue that at such a young age, the necessary experience might just not be there and might affect performance if eventually elected into office?
Well, a lot of young people are ready for political leadership. Let us go through history. In 1933, 1934, 1935, the party that actually fought for our independence, which was the Nigerian youth movement, was led by young people, the likes of Professor Iswa, Ernest Ikoli, Samuel Akinsanya. These were people who were in their early 30s and even at 29, and they started organizing, and they fought against colonialism. The indirect rule that we celebrate today, even the democracy that we celebrate today, was actually fought by young people. Would you say that they were not matured enough to actually muster the courage and the energy to fight against colonialism or even military dictatorship? If we celebrate our independence, who moved the first motion for independence in the federal House? Actually, a young person. So the argument that young people are not capacitated enough. And it doesn't hold water. If young people can fight for democracy, if young people can fight colonialism at a very, see no reason why at 30 or at 25, you don't have young people who have the capacity to run for office.
Well, that's some sort of a history lesson from Samson. He was talking about how young people have fought to get things done in the past. But can you make a comparison with other countries?
Okay, so in other countries, it's not so great either, because when you look at in many African countries, a lot of the leaders are around 70, even older. And in most countries, about 73% of countries around the world, they have age restrictions on running for office. And the average age of world leaders around the world is 62 years old. That's way past being a youth, but we have young examples of people. For example, Mary Black, she won at age 20 as a member of parliament in the UK. A lot